Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the post-game press conference for Game 5. We'll ask the players a few questions, and then the media will be able to ask questions at the mic to my left. I guess the first question and the most pressing question will be for the world champion. It seemed like you had some advantage and a very surprisingly quick end to the game when you played the move bishop c6 instead of bishop h5. Did you consider bishop h5? Did you realize you had a significant advantage? What prompted you to actually play the move bishop to c6?
Yeah, but bishop c6 is basically a draw offer. Bishop h5, king e3, and b5.
I mean, the game continues.
Yeah, I thought his queen rook activity can compensation for the pawn, but I can protect it. Yeah.
When you play bishop a6, it was the intent to, or bishop c6 was the intent to make a draw at this point. I'll ask you, Gukesh, you must have seen bishop h5. What was your feeling about the position at this point?
Yeah, I knew that I should be like slightly worse after bishop h5, but I thought with an active rook I should be able to hold. But actually a few moves earlier I was not sure about my position. I mean, first of all, knight c4 I was not sure about, but also I don't know why opponent did not play bishop e6 after knight c4 take rook e4. For example, bishop e6, rook d4, rook c8, I was very worried about this position. And then after bishop c6, I was already quite relieved, and after bishop f3 and bishop c6, that was just a draw offer, so yeah.
So now stepping back one step to this position, why didn't you play bishop e6 here instead of going for the bishop c6 idea?
Well, I didn't see the idea rook c8, rook c5, and then move the king to the king side, like some kind of burning pawn structure. I didn't realize it's a big advantage for me.
Did you come into the game with the mindset that a draw with black would be a good idea?
No, I just tried to play my best, but somehow I settled for the draw.
Before, if you go peel back a little bit more to this moment, rook e5 was the recommended move here. Did you realize how much trouble you were in after you took and he put a knight on d3?
Yeah, I mean, once I saw knight d3, I realized I just blundered with d5. I didn't know how bad it was really, but yeah, of course I should have played rook e5. I mean, it would have been a draw anyways, but yeah, d5, knight d3, I kind of just hallucinated here. Like, knight d3 I saw, but somehow I underestimated that he can, like, after take b3 he has rook c8, and I just have troubles holding my position. And okay, my position is almost collapsing, so yeah, I mean, knight d3 I just blundered, so. But okay.
What was your feeling in the moment? I mean, were you a panic at this time when you saw that knight d3 was so strong, or did you manage to keep your cool?
Like, I was a bit annoyed that I didn't play rook e5, but honestly during the game I thought it should always be quite holdable because I have some squares, surely unpleasant, but I was pretty confident that I could hold it.
The strength of knight d3, did it occur to you when he didn't play rook e5 that suddenly you had a fantastic position, that everything had turned around?
Yeah, here I briefly considered rook e5, but he played d3 e5 very quickly. Actually, so here maybe he should play knight e5 and I take with the pawn knight d3 and take rook to e3. Maybe the game should play like this. Okay, I can take the 2 pawns here. Maybe 91 is the move. 94, he has rook b4. Well, considering this variation, so I'm very surprised to see g5 on the board.
So again, the strength of knight d3 was it clear to you that you were suddenly much better, or did you feel that it was still pretty much an equal position?
This was my idea after knight b6, because instead of knight d6, if I play this, I'm not sure if it's good or not, because the pawn is very weak on f4. He had many ideas, for example, knight f3 and g5.
Okay. I will open the floor to the press. Please state your name and where you're from before you ask your question.
Bidya from Chessbase India. My question is to Ding. When you played the move knight to c4, did you consider keeping the knights on board, like on the move, or like move knight to a4 or something? Move 25, I guess.
So in this moment, instead of playing knight c4, to play knight a4.
Mm-hmm. I thought here maybe some d4, but he can play c4. If I go here, he rook b1. Or maybe just king f2. And no, bishop f2.
The engine likes bishop f2 in this position.
Mhm.
A little bit trickier. But the idea of keeping the knights on the board seems reasonable, because the obstacle ending could potentially, even though the engine is saying your choice was the number one choice, knight c4. But it's a reasonable question, the idea of knight a4. Did you ever consider it as better, or you rejected it eventually?
With knight a4, what if he just play king f2? What's the threat?
Take. Not sure this is. Now taking.
Rook d8. Mm-hmm.
So. Seems knight c4 was simpler way to go, more solid. Next question.
Hello, this is a question for Ding Liren, Michael Rahal from FIDE Media. So, Ding Liren, I was quite surprised to see that you spent nearly 40 minutes to go for h6 and then knight to h5. And I was trying to think what other moves or variations you were considering in that huge amount of time for those two moves. Could you show us on the board what other things you were thinking of instead of the move you played h6 and knight to h5? What other variations you were considering?
I would mainly consider this line occurred in the game, because g4 looks so tempting for white. And if I play something like b5, he just check and play knight e5. And I don't know how to continue. Some more like bishop f4 coming with some threat. And here, yes, my main concern was on this position. And here, first I consider knight f6, but as I said before, here, b5, knight e3, maybe a5, I don't know, g5, or rook a7. I saw this variation, but I don't know. Yeah. Also, I consider something like g5, but maybe not so good, h4.
So to follow up with this, in your long think, you were
Yes,
already
yes.
sensing that Gukesh would go for this aggressive g4 idea.
I see, and I thought maybe it's the only way to play. After I play this, I realized I have knight b6. Yeah, but he can also play maybe knight f1, play solidly.
Probably g5, yeah.
Knight f6.
This is Charlize asking on behalf of your fans on FIDE social media channels. And this is to Gukesh. What kind of training did you get from your mental coach, Paddy Upton, and how has it helped you so far?
I have been working with Paddy for the last few months in preparation for this match, and first of all, it's very enjoyable, the work we do. I mean, we have had a lot of conversations, and he has helped me a lot to mentally and physically prepare for the match in different ways. Probably after the match, maybe it would be nice to go over the details, but yeah, I can say that our work together has been very enjoyable and very, very important for me in preparation.
This is Mike Klein with chess.com, and I have a question for Grandmaster Gukesh. Of course, you lost with e4, but then you won with d4, and you went back to e4 today. I'm curious, since we're 5 games into the match, has there been any time in the match where you've wanted to play something and Grandmaster Gajewski wanted to play something else, and you had to sort of, one of you had to convince the other one? So, or have you guys both been in lockstep with what openings you're looking to play?
I think it depends on the game and our moods, and obviously when we take a decision, it's together with my thinking and my team's thinking. So sometimes we are on the same page, sometimes we are not. But yeah, we just try to make the best decision, and I guess the main goal is for me to be happy with the decision.
And can you comment specifically about today's game? I think it may have only been the second time in the history of the World Championship we've seen an exchange French, so not many of us were expecting that. But can you comment about today's decision? Was it your decision? Was it his decision? Did you agree about it?
I mean, obviously it was, in the end we all agreed with this. But it's a cool fact that it's only the second time exchange has been played. Which was the first time?
Don't want to misspeak.
Okay.
I'll get excoriated for that, but we'll look it up for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a good opening, which is also quite topical these days. So, yeah, I guess I was, prep-wise, happy. I mean, I guess he was playing on the board from early on, and we just got a game. But yeah, it did not. I guess it did not pose too many problems for him this time.
Thank you.
Ian Rogers, Shark Magazine 64. Question really for Mr. Gukesh, but both players can answer if they want. How satisfied are you with the progress of the match so far?
I think it's still early to say. I mean, not even close to halfway done through the match. Considering I was trailing this match after the first game, it's nice to be here. But yeah, there's a lot more important games to come, and yeah, I'm just trying to play one game at a time and give my best.
You're sounding like Mr. Gelfand. You're sounding like Boris Gelfand at his press conferences. He said that at every single press conference, playing one game at a time. And Mr. Ding, how satisfied are you so far in the match after 5 games?
Well, the results is not the ideal one because I have some chance in some games, and I will lead by some point, and then it was even. Also today, after some brief check, I have some advantage, which I didn't realize. So yeah, there's something to improve in the next round.
Thanks.
Hi, Abhinav from US Chess. Gukesh, you've played G4 in 3 white games, all of your white games, funnily enough, this match. But there was another option, a more classical or positional option with knight f1, trying to reroute to e3 and targeting the weak d5 backward pawn. Was this ever crossing your line of thought, or did you want to go for the most critical, concrete line with g4 for the third time?
Yeah, it's cool that this was, I mean, third game in a row I'm playing g4, but this knight f1, I mean, obviously it's the move it was one of the moves I considered, but I thought g4 was the critical one. I mean, knight f1 I was mainly worried about g5, bishop g3, knight g3, h, I guess h g3, knight f6, and he gets bishop e6, and it's like extremely solid position with black. I mean, I have the f5 square, but his bishop on e6 is quite solid, and some b5, b4 might happen. So I didn't think this was enough to press. That's why I went for g4, but probably it was also not as good as I expected it to be.
Quick follow-up. In the other two instances, you played g4 in the opening, but here you chose it as a critical line. The question is really more about the opening. What was a little bit, without giving it away, the rationale behind the exchange French, something a little bit more tame than your critical and uncompromising style?
I think it's just a good opening. I mean, obviously we are preparing for the game, and I play some opening only if I think it's good, yeah, and if it's good enough for a game. So yeah, this time it did not work so great, but I don't think it was the opening's fault.
My question is to Gukesh. Did you expect Ding to play the French defense, and were you happy with the position after you played the French exchange variation?
Yeah, I mean, Ding played French already in the first game, so yeah, it's obviously one of the things that we expected. And the exchange French, I was prepared till he played King E7. I'm sure I saw King E7, but I couldn't remember the details. And in general, the position was kind of what we expected will happen on the board. So I was happy with that, but probably I didn't have any serious chances anywhere. Maybe I could have improved early on, but yeah, I think maybe I kind of overestimated my position in the opening.
A quick follow-up of chess question. We have seen a lot of times you've closed your eyes when you're playing the game. So is it possible to reveal, are you calculating or like thinking at that point, or just trying to keep a clear head?
I guess it's just normal. I usually do this, like I close my eyes quite often during games. And sometimes it's just that it's easier to calculate with your eyes closed. Maybe at some point I'm also like, I'm sitting there in this room. There's nothing else to see, so I'm just closing my eyes. But yeah, mostly I'm just thinking about the position.
I'm Gu Xiaobing from organization. I have a few questions for Ding Liren. First of all, 请你谈一下今天的对局，以及对手今天在法兰西防御中选择异地的变化有没有出乎你的意料？
My name is Gu Xiaobing. I have a few questions for Mr. Ding Liren. My first question is, were you surprised by the choice of the exchange French from Mr. Gukesh?
从这比赛用时来看，我也是对这个交换法兰西有一定准备的。对，但是他马币第二这步棋出乎了我的意料，然后临场我就需要去思考，然后我觉得我走的还不错，一直下的还不错，直到我就最后时刻，可以继续，比如说走向E6，但是在把王从王翼出来，这个计划我没有想到，然后可能局在后翼有很大的这个前景吧。觉得这盘棋也是下了半盘好棋吧，后半盘就有点粗糙。
Okay, that was a very long answer, by the way, so I'll do my best. Mr. Ding said that he was in general well prepared for the French defence. He was a bit surprised, I think, by knight b d2, and so he started thinking sometime after that. He felt he played quite well in the first half of the game. He did feel that maybe after rook e4, bishop e6, and then the king comes to the king side, and perhaps black has some chances to press there, so perhaps he missed some small opportunities there towards the end. So he felt it was half a good game by him, and the other half probably could have slightly improved somewhere.
第二个问题就是来到新加坡也有一段时间了，对新加坡的印象怎么样？有没有在圣淘沙里面转一转？谢谢。
So the question was, Mr. Ding, you've been in Sentosa in Singapore for quite some time now. What's your general impression of Singapore, and have you had the chance to tour around Sentosa Island so far?
对，我不仅在圣淘沙待着，中间一开始还出去踢了场球，所以对新加坡整个城市的面貌也有一点了解。这里还是挺繁华的，然后挺先进的。圣淘沙还是一个挺舒服的一个度假的区域，但接下去我还是更多的关心接下来的比赛吧。
So I also had an opportunity early on to even have a game of soccer before the match started, which I really enjoyed. Obviously, Singapore is very modernized, prosperous, and a very modern city. So I've had a good stay, but I'm going to focus my attention further on this match on the games.
Michael Rahal again from FIDE Media. So we have quite a few very interesting questions on our Twitter feed. I've selected one. I would like to ask both players, aside from chess, which sports person do you admire the most, aside from chess? Mr. Gukesh.
I mean, when I was younger, it was Indian cricketer MS Dhoni. Now it's Novak Djokovic. I think both are great athletes, and I really admire a lot of things about them.
Well, it's hard to say the words admire. Before, I liked the player. When I watch NBA a lot, I like Lamar Odom. And then I like Federico Chiesa. They are not that famous, but they are just in my favor.
My final question is for Gukesh. As you know, your countrymen, fellow colleagues, grandmasters are playing all over the world. Nihal Sarin has just won the Uzbekistan President's Cup, and other players are participating in important tournaments. I was wondering, do you stay in contact with them during the event, maybe on social media, and cheer each other on their successes?
Okay, firstly, I didn't know Nihal won this. Firstly, congrats to him. I mean, during the tournament, I generally don't talk to many people outside my team. But yeah, it's always nice when Indians, Indian youngsters keep achieving things. It's motivating for all of us. So yeah, I'm glad about that.
Thanks. I have a question for Ding, but just to close the book, apparently Capablanca Alekhine 1927 was an exchange French and black won. My question is for Ding. This Queen E7 endgame apparently is covered in Anish Giri's Chessable course, and I'm just curious if you knew about that course. He said the endgame is fine after Queen E7. So are you aware of this course?
No, but he's right.
Indeed, you proved that today. Thanks very much.
We'll have just a few more questions, please.
I wanted to take the peaceful result as an opportunity to ask both of you without revealing too much. Can you both give a game of your opponent that you were particularly impressed by in their chess career?
I remember, I think in 2019 or something, Baijin Shi Ding was probably his best game, which as a kid I really enjoyed. Yeah.
I know my opponent beat Pragnanda many times with both colors. I remember one game he played whites and his center made, it was Italian, and his center made a huge role in his victory.
Any more questions? All right, well, that concludes our press conference for today. We will be back again tomorrow for Game 6 at 5 p.m. local time. Good night, everyone.